I had a chance to talk with Blades Brown yesterday, a 17-year-old making his professional debut on the PGA Tour. Blown away by how much confidence the young man had. Blown away by how he seems to be really at ease in his own skin. Because I can tell you,
confidence or arrogance? Which one?
No, I wouldn't say confidence because I actually look. This was the first interaction I had with him, and I know his trainer, who he's working with, pretty well. And his trainer had told me early in the morning that they'd been working out yesterday morning, and that Tom had accidentally dropped a weight on the trainer's laptop and essentially ruined it. And so when Tom walked up, again, haven't interviewed him before, I kind of just leaned over before I started the interview and, hey, I'm going to start with a question about you breaking your trainer's laptop. And he went pale. Like you could see where, oh, no, please don't. And it turned into a very funny moment. And we got to joking about it. And I said, that's the reason I don't work out, because I don't want to drop one of those weights on me. Forget about my laptop. I'm really worried about dropping it.
Yes, that's definitely the reason.
Yes, that's 100% why I don't work out.
I do think Blades Brown seems, Rex, like a very impressive player. He could have gone to any college. He had a decorated junior and amateur career. Like what's I guess his short-term outlook? I know obviously he's playing this week on a sponsor exemption, but like what's the rest of his 2025 look like?
Appreciate you watching my hit yesterday on Golf Central about it, because I covered all of that. But sure, I'll go ahead and go over it one more time. His management team right now, he has 4 or 5 PGA Tour starts on sponsor exemptions. Obviously, his schedule will be dependent on how he plays in those events. You get a top 10, you move on to the next week. They also have a couple of starts on the Korn Ferry Tour. The goal right now is to get him as many reps as possible, reps, opportunities, because, again, you want that confidence to turn into something where he's comfortable. And I did like the idea. I asked him about what Nick Dunlap did here last year, becoming the first amateur to win on the PGA Tour since 1991, how that was motivation for him in this process. Because my guess is turning pro at 17 was not a necessarily easy decision, especially with all of the colleges that were coming after him. And this is kind of an aside, and you know this better than I do, but NIL was going to pay him roughly $500,000 to go to whichever college he landed at. I guess that's the going rate now for a very good junior golfer to go to a big-time college program. Clearly, that's not NIL money that we see on the football side when you have a Georgia quarterback end up at Miami for estimated $4 million. However, that's still a motivation that I was curious about. How did you come to that? And clearly, he told me that what Nick Dunlap was able to do, not just here last year, but then to be able to close the season off with a second victory on the PGA Tour. And there's just a level of confidence, I think, among younger players that we've touched on before, that they just show up as fully formed competitors, maybe not adults, but fully formed competitors, where there's nothing in their game that you can point at and say, nope, that's absolutely not PGA Tour ready. Watching him play golf the last 2 days, he hits it plenty far enough. The iron shots are crisp enough. His putting is going to have to come around, and he has played in one PGA Tour event. He played in Myrtle Beach last year where he finished tied for 26. That would be one reason to watch. And I think the other reason was, and I did this hit on Golf Today after you did your roundtable, just on JT, because we have both agreed that he clearly turned a corner last year towards the end of the year. And coming into this year, he didn't play well in Maui. I always can sort of write that off as Maui is kind of an anomaly on the PGA Tour. It's a different golf course. It's a resort course. You can run into weird winds. I think this will be telling, because all of the things we know about JT, and we talked about this in the Bahamas, like he is essentially in his career right now at a very similar point where Scottie Scheffler was, as a preeminent ball striker who just wasn't putting well on the greens. And JT has decided to go without an instructor, where Scottie went to Phil Kenyon. However, he said something in Maui that I think will be apropos this week. He talked about the idea that he still feels like he's a good putter. He just needs the confidence to come around. And as we've talked about, this is golf in a dome. This is going to be a putting contest. It'll be a good week to see where he is in that process.
Yeah, I mean, JT's going to absolutely have to fill it up if he wants to contend. What was it, 30 under par was the winning score last year with Nick Dunlap. John Rahm criticized this tournament a couple years ago as a effing putting contest, just as it relates to Blades Brown, which I find very interesting because Blades Brown is, Rex, bucking a trend that we've seen primarily from American youngsters, where it seems like more and more are going to college. I don't think it's just because of NIL. I don't think it's just because of PGA Tour University, but it's just making sure everything is aligned and you're as prepared as possible. And college golf is certainly proven for U.S. golfers to be a great preparer for what the next level is going to look like. It's not, unique overseas, but at least in America, like I can only think of Akshay Bhatia recently, who was a ballyhooed recruit as a junior player, skipped college golf, and then is sort of finding his way as a professional. It was a rough couple of years, remember, for Akshay Bhatia. He was receiving criticism left and right for going to college when it was clear that he was unprepared for that next level. I think it's a credit to him and his team that he's found his place now. But I think a lot of people are going to be very interested to see what the journey of Blades Brown looks like. Can he experience success right away? Is it too much too soon for him? Did the team around him, maybe push this when maybe a year or two of seasoning of college golf could have helped? I think it's going to be very interesting to see how Blades Brown plays in 2025. This is, I guess, a curious place to start. 3 golf courses, have to learn them, going to be a putting contest. But I'm with you. I think Blades Brown is the number one attraction this week, as well as Justin Thomas, Sung Jae Im, and others.